It's the moment you've all been waiting for, folks. Finally, the F4 United Arab Emirates Championship is back for 2024. This is the starting point of the motor racing season in the international fraternity. And boy, oh boy, are we in for a spectacular weekend of great motorsport action. Starting as we are this weekend on the Marina circuit. And it's the corkscrew circuit that we're actually using for the first time in 3 years. A fabulous opportunity for our competitors to really take in the thrills and spills of a circuit with a variation on the hairpin loop that saw Max Verstappen claim the World Championship from Lewis Hamilton 3 years ago. Instead of heading down the hill, they'll be turning a sharp left after that flowing right-hander and then dropping down through the cascades of the corkscrew section, a part of the circuit that has no rubber on it. So that's going to be a very interesting battle. And of course, with it being a new season in F4, there are new names and new talents to start talking about. A lot has changed in the last 12 months, so there's going to be a lot of interesting stories to talk about. There are a few absentees that have already been announced as competing in the F4 UAE Championship in 2024. We're getting ready for qualifying to begin. There is young Alex Powell, who carries the flags of both Jamaica and the United States on his halo. He is born in Miami, Florida. He has Jamaican heritage. He is, of course, the nephew of the Olympic sprinter Asafa Powell, so he's got plenty of amazing sporting pedigree in his upbringing. The 5 names that have been confirmed as racing in F4 UAE Championship in 2024 who are not here this weekend competing are Yan Puchu, the Chinese driver who is part of the Mercedes Young Driver Program. He'll be in the Excel Motorsport team later in the season. Also Enzo de Ligny, the French driver who is part of the Red Bull Junior Program. He's not here yet with the Race GP program, but he will be later in the season. The American driver James Agozzi should be making his debut for the PHM Ike's racing team very soon, and we'll also hopefully be seeing Chi Zhenru, the Chinese driver, and Thomas Stolchamanis, the Latvian, make their swan songs for the Prema racing team later on in the campaign. But at the moment, we have the 33 drivers that are currently confirmed, and it's going to be a very intense qualifying session based on what we saw from testing. All those of you who have obviously got your names and numbers of drivers that you're going to be cheering on in fantastic fashion over the course of this season, and we are ready for some exciting battles. Jake Sanson here with you in the commentary box, overlooking the start-finish line on the support race paddock with the W Hotel in the background. It is wonderful to be back in the United Arab Emirates once again with some amazing race action to come. The F4 UAE Championship last year went down to the wire between James Wharton and Tuka Tarpanen, both of whom have stepped up out of the F4 UAE Championship into Formula Regional, and you'll see them in their first qualifying session a little bit later on in the day. For now, though, there is plenty of excitement to talk about in F4 UAE as the drivers head out for their qualifying session. Just to give you a brief rundown of the drivers who are competing in each team here this weekend, just to give you a bit of a run through. Excel Motorsport, back again, 3-time champions, headed, of course, by Kevin Day and Paul Hardy. And the 3 drivers are going to be 2 competitors from Chinese Formula 4, Thiago Rodriguez, the newly crowned champion from Macau, and Liu Kaixin from Hong Kong. He'll be in the mix there, along with the very talented racing driver from Italy, Alvise Rodella, who's going to be captaining the squad. Yazid Racing Academy had 2 drivers. The man who won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix Trophy race, Keanu Al-Azadi, who lives on the Palm Jumeirah, just down the road in Dubai. He is there alongside his former karting adversary, Zach Scular, who is stepping up to the Yazid Academy. Be fabulous to see how they get on. High Tech may not have gotten themselves an entry in Formula 1, but they still have a fabulous battle to come in F4 UAE. They've got 4 fabulous young talents in that squad, an all-British lineup. Reza Sabaruthin, Sebastian Murray, Gabriel Stilp and Deegan Fairclough. That has so much firepower in that particular team. They could be winning a lot of races over the course of this year, that is for sure. Then for Race GP, we have a lot of young stars making their debuts in the world of car racing. We have Lucas Amalisto, Rafael Narak, Enzo Ye and Jules Caranta. They're going to have a very exciting time of it. The PHM squad have rebranded for this year. They now have PHM Ike's racing colours that we first saw in Formula 2 and Formula 3 last year. And as you can see, those are the cars at the sharp end of the field. The gold with the green streaks. They look absolutely superb. And they've got a very tough talent of drivers on the grid. Nikita Bedrin is the leader of the squad, and he has 3 rookies beside him. Everett Stack of the United States, Max Popov, and Kamal Murad as well, the Australian. Prema Racing has 2 cars. Rashid Al-Daheri, who's actually running in Yazid Racing colours, I should say. The man from just down the road from here in Abu Dhabi. And his teammate is the French racer Dorian Pin, who's going to be in the F1 Academy later this season. AGI Sport is the new team on the grid. They come all the way from Australia, would you believe? And it's great to see the talents of Nicola Stati, Carrie Schreiner, Jack Beaton and Peter Buzanelos competing in the team. Carrie Schreiner, of course, has only just recently announced that she's part of the Sauber team in terms of the representation on the F1 Academy grid. Santalok Racing have 4 great new talents. Maxi Restrepo, the Colombian, who is coached by the 2-time Indy 500 winner and Monaco Grand Prix sensation Juan Pablo Montoya, who is here this weekend. Aurelia Nobels, the Belgian-Brazilian, she is in the grid as well. Yavan David, the Sri Lankan superstar in karting, he's going to be in the Rookie Cup this year with Santalok. And Matteo Quintarelli, who has done F4 UAE last year, the young man from Dubai, he is here as well. And then the Mumbai Falcons, of course, we have to talk about them in F4 UAE. They blitzed the championship last year, and the title fight that we saw between James Wharton and Tuka Tarpanen obviously went down to the wire. We could have it again this year with 3 Brits and an American in the team this year. Freddie Slater, Kia Nakamura-Berta and Dion Gowda, as well as Alex Powell, the Jamaican sensation as he was known in his karting days. He's part of the Mercedes Young Guns. Toto Wolff rates this guy very highly, and he's being looked after by the Mercedes Junior Academy by a fabulous group of people. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. Kia Nakamura-Berta, of course, part of the Alpine Academy, and Freddie Slater, the man who dominated and blitzed Ginetta Jr. last year, as well as becoming the youngest ever Gearbox FIA karting European champion in KZ2 last year. So the man can do pretty much anything he sets his mind to. And Pinnacle Motorsport, the final team in the mix in F4 UAE, has the Indian star Kai Daryanani, who once blitzed Dan Wells on iRacing, and that's how he became a professional driver. Dan was so impressed, he went, right, we're going to put you behind the wheel of a real car and see how you do. And then the Chinese driver, his teammate Fu Yuhao, is going to be right up there in the mix as well. 33 competitors pushing for the top spot. And for argument's sake, the first lap out on the circuit that they are doing has been topped so far by Kamal Murad. There is Alex Powell putting himself up to speed in the number 80 car. But expect the times to filter through quickly all the way through the mix. It's going to be an interesting challenge for all of the contenders out there at this precise moment in time, as we currently have the top 20 drivers coming through. You can see there that the first few laps are essentially still being done by the competitors. So excellent to see how everybody is getting on with things at the moment. There is the new AGI Sport Team colour scheme. It looks absolutely stunning in the Emirates sunshine. And the AGI Sport Team have come all the way from Australia, and they are really starting to ramp up their international competitions. They had to go at F4 Southeast Asia a few weeks back, and now they are wanting to do the same thing here in the Middle East, in the United Arab Emirates Championship. They blitzed Australian F4 several times, F3 I should say, and have been very competitive. They're going to be part of the all-new look Australian F4 Championship for this season as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how it all continues on. But now, let's see how it all continues. I can see you all there chatting away on the YouTube stream. Do keep questions and messages coming in. I'll do the best to follow them through the course of the sessions. And we'll see how it all continues to go. Now, Cielefred Harm has said this year is Rashid Al-Daheri's season to win. That's his bet. Now, that's not a bad bet at all, actually, because Rashid Al-Daheri has been racing in Italian F4 for the past year. He's been in a fantastic operation with Prema. He's obviously still run by them despite running in Yas Heat Racing colours. And with a year of Italian F4 experience in the top 10 frequently behind him, he's a good shout, particularly considering he knows this circuit very well indeed. I got an opportunity to speak to him at length today, and he is dialed up and ready. He absolutely wants to go for as much as he can get out of it. He's under no illusions that it's going to be very tough to continue to battle, but we're going to have a really exciting 2024 campaign, that is for sure. So everybody is already putting on an excellent display here. The first decent lap times are starting to come through now, as Fu Yuhao has topped the table with a 1:51.1. But these tyres take about 2 or 3 laps to get up to speed. So we're going to wait and see how the drivers are going to continue to fare. So it'll be interesting to see how it all continues. And I do indeed enjoy the new timing graphics. They look absolutely sensational, Sam. Thank you very much indeed. It's a brand new dawn and a brand new day, and we're looking forward to seeing how everything continues on in 2024. Now, Matteo Quintarelli has just gone second fastest on a 1:51.3 in front of the new American talent Everett Stack. Yvan David right up there at the sharp end. Aurelia Nobles now bangs in a time good enough for P3, but the times are going to tumble thick and fast. It's going to be like a cash register, like a lottery machine over the next 2-3 minutes or so. But one of the key factors the drivers have been telling me here is traffic. It's going to be really difficult to pitch your way around, particularly coming into the corkscrew section, as there is Keanu Al-Azadi as he is trying to pound his way around. Now, don't forget that it wasn't that long ago that we had the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and in support of that was the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix trophy race for F4, and the winner of that was Keanu Al-Azadi. So he definitely wants to continue that move, and he's working his way forward. Akshit Bora watching along on the screen. I kind of half expected to actually be here on the starting grid, but he's clearly focusing on his Formula Winter Series campaign, which is coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Up on the inside, that is Keanu Al-Azadi going to the top spot on a 147.2, just in front of Deegan Fairclough, who's done a 147.7. Rafael Narak in third for the moment, in third on a 148.2. Then Alves Rodella in front of Jack Beaton and Thiago Rodriguez. Then we have Peter Businelos, one of the new rookies, working his way forward, as up to the top spot has come Keanu Al-Azadi, but up to second comes Rashid Al Daheri. Now, this could be the first time that we're going to see drivers from the United Arab Emirates fighting for the title since Hamda Al Kubaisi was in the championship a couple of seasons ago. So it'll be fabulous to see. No driver from the UAE has actually won the title yet in the United Arab Emirates. There's been several competitors for it. We've had some brilliant champions over the years, as Freddie Slater goes up to the top spot by 0.02 of a second, joined by his teammates Kia Nakamura Berta, Alex Powell and Dion Gowder in the top 5. As Dorian Pin goes quick as well. She's up to 7th position, so right up there in the top 10. Jules Caranta's done well out of the blocks. He's currently in 11th position. So too is Yvan David, just on the outskirts of the top 10 for the time being. So the times are definitely coming in thick and fast now. Just under 6 minutes to go in the session, and Freddie Slater, who conquered pretty much everything except the raffle, which he didn't enter last year. If he had, he probably would have won that as well. And looking very good at the start of proceedings so far. Deegan Fairclough across the line, up into P5 for the high-tech squad. So already, fresh out of the blocks, a lot of great competitors. I was just going to run through the previous champions of the F4 UAE title fight in previous years. Jonathan Aberdeen, Charles Weerts, Matteo Nannini, Francesco Pizzi, Enzo Trilli, Charlie Wirtz, and of course last year the Australian James Wharton got the job done. So now it's going to be a completely fresh face that tops the table. I always find this part of the championship incredibly exciting. First qualifying, first competitive bit of anger out there on the circuit, and we still don't really know who's going to be at the top spot. Ali Miller asks, are there any world karting races from last year's championship this year? Oh yes, there are, quite a few actually. Freddie Slater, who won last year's FIA Karting European Championship in the gearbox contingency. Alex Powell, who won everything but the world title pretty much last year, the Mercedes Young Gun. We've had an off there for one of the AGI Sport drivers from Australia. Kia Nakamura Berta, double European and world champion. Well, he was the junior world champion, he was the European senior champion. So Kia Nakamura Berta, definitely a big talent. And we've obviously seen quite a few drivers step up. Jules Caranta has stepped up into the world of cars this year, as has Yvan David. All competitors that were in karting now in cars. So great to see a lot of drivers stepping up. So a really exciting situation for all of the drivers out there. At the moment, Keanu Al-Azadi has been able to bang in another fast time, and he goes top spot. So fresh out of the blocks, it's the Yazid driver, Keanu Al-Azadi, who is in pole position for the time being. Freddie Slater in second from Kia Nakamura Berta, Alex Powell, Rashid Al Daheri, and then Deegan Fairclough in front of Dorian Pin, Dion Gowder, Nikita Bedrin in P10, and Alves Rodella just in behind. Actually, I should say Bedrin is in P9. Rodella in 10th from Quintarelli. Jack Beaton doing well for the AGI Sport team. Up to 12th place, though, has come the Gilles Villeneuve of karting. I still stand by that description. Gabriel Stilp, who is 12th position, or he was. Rafael Narak has now displaced him, but keep an eye on Gabriel Stilp in this F4 UAE Championship. I said in his karting days when he was in the Miami World Finals and the European Series that he really was the Gilles Villeneuve of karting. Everything that was action-packed that was happening on those circuits were pretty much as a result of him. So fabulous stuff. And really exciting to see. Now, Aniga Angus says, tell us more about Yvan David. Well, I'll tell you what, he is definitely Sri Lanka's most highest profile racing driver ever up at this point. He's currently 16th in the rankings. 2 years ago, he became the first driver from Sri Lanka ever to place on an FIA podium of any kind in an international competition. He became the silver medalist in the karting senior final at Paul Ricard in France. And he also represented Sri Lanka in the FIA Karting Academy Trophy, I believe in the same year. It might have been the year before, in 2021. But this is his first ever car race, so it's going to be really exciting to see how he gets on. So fabulous to see how it's all going to depend there. Now, Alex Powell was on a very quick lap last time round, but I think he made a little bit of an error in the third sector. So things are going to be a little bit problematic if he's going to try and go for the top spot. But we'll see how things continue on. Kia Nakamura-Berta currently in third position, the former junior world champion in karting and the former European senior champion in karting, so he's got plenty of skill and dexterity. But in an F4 car, this is all a new challenge for him. Keanu Alazardi's managed to get a 1:46.7 out of this circuit, 0.4 of a second quicker than the new boy Freddie Slater, who you're watching on your screen. British driver, Freddie Slater. A lot of people rate him as the next Lando Norris, which is a very big accolade to live up to for Freddie Slater, but he comes from a racing family. His younger brother Alfie is going to step up into Ginetta Juniors for the first time this year, a year after his brother dominated it. So this could be a really interesting situation for the family. I tell you what, Adrian's definitely burning the candle at both ends this season. It was bad enough when they were both in karting. Now one's in F4, one's in Ginetta Juniors. He really has got the short straw in terms of financing his young son's dreams. There is Freddie Slater being chased down by one of his teammates. I think that is Dion Gowda that's going with him. And Dion Gowda, of course, has a year of British F4 under his belt. So definitely going very well indeed. As everybody continuing on his way. Wojaran on YouTube making the point, from Zachary David to Yvan David, obscure countries racing-wise have great talents with both the Philippines and Sri Lanka represented. Indeed we do. We also have the likes of Hong Kong and Macau being represented here by Liu Kaixin and Thiago Rodriguez, who of course won the Chinese F4 championship last year. And he's already said, yes, winning in China is one thing, but winning in the F4 UAE, it's basically like the world championship for F4. So it's going to be really exciting to see how things continue. Drivers still trying to find the ultimate pace in the closing stages of this qualifying session, but I think everybody's got what they can. Kia Nakamura-Berta has jumped up to second place, a 1:47.1 straight out of the blocks for Kia Nakamura-Berta. When he won the World Championship, he represented Japan, and when he won the European Championship in karting, he represented Great Britain, but he also carries the Croatian flag on his halo, just to keep it as intercontinental as possible. So Keanu Alazardi, top spot. Kia Nakamura-Berta second. Freddie Slater third, Alex Powell in fourth, then Dion Gowda, Rashid Al-Daheri, Deegan Fairclough, Dorian Pin right up in the top 10, then Alves Rodella and Matteo Quintarelli. And the checkered flag is out in front of me on the support grid. So these are the final times that are coming through. Are there going to be any final changes to that? I would have said no, but then Kia Nakamura-Berta did move up into second position. Keynes Catseed has made it very clear that Miami is represented on this grid. Indeed it is. We used to call Alex Powell the Jamaican sensation, of course, but he still carries the Jamaican flag on his halo. But nowadays he is very proud of his roots. He is born and raised in Miami, Florida, and very good to see him right up in the top 5 in his first qualifying session of the 2024 season. So excellent stuff so far, but excellent work at the moment. And really good to see just how quickly things are already starting to unfold here. But Keanu Alazardi has got qualifying 1 nailed here. The only driver in qualifying to go under 1:47 for the lap. As across the line to finish his lap, that's the 55 of Dion Gowda, the Indian driver who is based in the United Kingdom and races under a British licence. He is not able to improve. He keeps on to a 1:47.248, which is only 0.06 of a second slower than the Miami boy wonder Alex Powell. Rashid Al-Daheri P6, Deegan Fairclough P7, Dorian Pin, the World Endurance Championship racer turned F4 driver, Dorian Pin in 8th position. She's done a great job there as well. 9th place for Alves Rodella, 10th place for Matteo Quintarelli, then Rafael Narak in front of Gabriel Stilp. Good effort from Gabriel. Jack Beaton in 13th place. That'll keep the AGI Sport team very happy on their debut in the United Arab Emirates. Zach Scoulard did a good job there as well. 1:48.013 is very admirable indeed for him. Quicker than Nikita Bedrin, who of course has a year experience in F4 UAE behind him. Gilles Caranta has gone well. Enzo Ye in 17th position in front of Yvan David. Then Sebastian Murray in 19th position in front of Maxi Restrepo, the Colombian, who is being coached by Juan Pablo Montoya, who is here, by the way. Riza Seraruthin in 21st place in front of Lucas Samalisto. Then Luca Shin in front of Peter Buzanelos. Kamal Murad, Thiago Rodriguez, Max Popov, Aurelio Nobels, Kai Darianani, Kari Schreiner, Everett Stack, Fu Yu Hao, and Nicholas Stati. And if you want to know what the gap is between everybody in the entire ranks, well, the best time of Nicholas Stati is a 1:49.897, which means there's 3 seconds covering the entire field of 33 drivers, which is pretty sensational. And it's really exciting to see how it's all going to continue. Now, qualifying 1, of course, sets the grid for race 1. Qualifying 2 sets the grid for race 3, with a reverse grid set up for race 2. So that's why we have 2 qualifying sessions, because we have 1 to set the grid for race 1 and 1 to set the grid for race 3. There is the new AGI Sport team. They've been dominant in Australian Formula 3 the last few seasons. They won several titles there, but the boys, Adam and Nathan Gotch, decided to bring the team to the United Arab Emirates with some great firepower. They've got Kari Schreiner and Jack Beaton with experience in the team, and then, of course, Nicholas Stati and Peter Buzanelos are the new boys. So really exciting to see how it continues. So this is going to be really exciting to see how the second session goes, as we look at Keanu El-Azari, the man who has topped the timesheets. Keanu El-Azari, thumbs up. He's obviously come out of the blocks very determined to go for pole position, and he does take his first pole position in F4 UAE at this point. And after last year, he's done an absolutely sensational job. So they will continue. Now, Kalle Krakaski, sorry, I absolutely butchered that name on YouTube. I do apologize. Kalle Krakaski, that's where I'm much better, I hope. Can you explain the reverse grid? Is it only the top 10 at the end of race 1 who are reversed? Indeed it is. So yes, whoever crosses the line in P10 in race 1 will end up in P1 for race 2. Keanu El-Azari delighted with pole position, but he can't celebrate too much. He's got to already think about Q2 and set himself up for a good grid position for race 3. But yes, the top 10 will be reversed at the end of race 1, and that will be the starting grid for race 2. So there's the provisional results for F4 UAE, although the times have not actually come up, so it ends up being essentially an entry list that you're looking at there rather than the times, unfortunately. So we will obviously show you one of those so you can cheer for your favorite drivers. But it's looking good. Essentially, for those who are wanting to know about the reverse grid system, it's pretty much identical to what we saw in Formula Regional Middle East last year. Whoever crossed the line in 10th position was able to get the pole position for race 2. It worked well in Formula Regional Middle East last year, so they decided to change the regulations for F4 UAE to match it. And it obviously sets drivers in F4 UAE up for the step up to Formula Regional as well. So it all works quite well. There is Thiago Rodriguez, the man who won the Chinese F4 Championship. The green light comes on at the end of the pit lane, and we're already straight out onto the track again for qualifying session number 2. So, exciting battles to come once again. Now, another very good question has come in on the YouTube feed, which is from fan of Lando, I should say, my apologies, with a 4 in the middle of it, of course. That's the correct way to spell Lando, of course. Do you gain points for pole position and fastest lap? Not in F4 UAE, you don't know. It